Hello, guys to gals, and welcome. Did I say guys to gals? You know what? It's staying in. Welcome. So today we're going to be looking at another unique item that is Atma's Wail. Atma's Wail is an embossed plate, and it does have relatively high defense, it is a embossed plate, so it does have some rather high penalties for run, walk, and stamina recovery. I believe it's 20%, but other than that, I mean, it is a relatively interesting plate, and we're going to have to go over this plate together because it's a weird one. So right off the bat, you see it has 988 defense with a 125 strength and 51 level requirement. We've got a 30% faster hit recovery, which is actually pretty nice. Faster hit recovery is always nice to have on an armor. And combined with high defense can actually be relatively nice to help keep a mercenary alive if you need to. We also have a 160% enhanced defense, so 120 to 160% ED, which does vary quite a bit there, 40%. We have a bonus defense of +2 per character level, up to 198 at level 99, which does give it a fairly nice defense of that 988. Now, of course, if this is a lower level character, it's going to be less defense. We get +15 to Dexterity, which is rather odd, but it's nice to increase your block chance. If you take a look at your block chance on your character, and you look at, like for instance, it's 63%. If I put on the Atmos Wail, it does go up to 69% from that 15 to Dexterity. So it's nice to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your block chance. We also have an increase to maximum mana of 15%, which is a pretty massive boost. And depending on what your mana pool is already, it can actually be a huge bonus to your mana, or it might not be much at all. It really just depends on your character and his abilities. 15% is not a lot of 190, but if I was a sorceress who had, say, 1,000 mana, and I was just trying to get my mana as high as humanly possible, I could stack this with some other plus to mana, maximum mana items. Like, for instance, I was an energy shield sorceress. Maximum mana can get pretty ridiculous at certain points, especially when you have things like frosties on, along with silk weaves and soges and things like that. All of those effects will stack together to increase your maximum mana higher and higher through the roof. So do keep that in mind. It also helps your regeneration rate. So the higher your mana is, the faster your mana regenerates. And having an effect like increases maximum mana will actually do a lot to help keep your mana full. Because the more mana you have, the faster your regeneration works. Especially if you are a sorceress and you have warmth. That warmth effect is actually highly variable depending on your mana pool. So having more mana in there is going to make your warmth more viable. We also have 20% better chance of magic items, which isn't really the greatest MF in the world, but it is MF, and I wouldn't turn it down. You could also augment this with a perfect topaz to bring that up from 20% to 44%, which isn't absolutely terrible. 44% on an armor with the effects that this has on it. We also have Replenish Life 10, which is kind of a nice little effect there. Having a little bit of Replenish Life on an armor is certainly nice to help beef your health back up while you're playing. Now, the armor is like kind of all over the place. And I'm not really 100% sure exactly what they were going for here, other than maybe an armor for a caster. Because I feel like the faster hit recovery, combined with the replenished life, combined with the high defense, combined with the maximum mana, combined with the better chance of magic items, almost makes it seem like they intended this to be used on a caster class. But never really kind of figured out exactly what they were doing, and the stats are just kind of all over the place. I mean, it still ends up being a halfway decent plate for a mercenary if you don't have anything better. The faster hit recovery combined with the very high defense and the dexterity is definitely going to help out your mercenary. The replenished life, unfortunately, does not help the mercenary, as I found out. The increase to maximum mana, of course, does not help your mercenary, and the magic find actually does work on your mercenary. It adds to your own, as long as the mercenary gets the killing blow, which is important there. So, I mean, it's an interesting plate. And it does come in an ethereal form, which I'll have to work out the calculations here. So the embossed plate has a defense of basically around 290, but let's use the top end, shall we? Let's use the 303, and we're going to multiply this by, sorry, not multiply, 303 plus 3 place 50%, which is the ethereal base. And then we are also going to add in the bonus, which is 160%. So plus 160%. Let's try this one more time. 303 plus 50% plus 160%. So we're looking at about 1,181 defense for the Atmos Wail Ethereal version. So about 1,200 defense, which isn't too bad. If I had found this at level 51, which is relatively low level, I could totally see putting this on a Mercenary as a makeshift armor until I found something better. I really don't see anything wrong with that. And we're going to upgrade these armors, and we're going to see what happens when we upgrade them. Unfortunately, I do feel like the upgrade is probably not going to be worth it. But that's not for us to judge. What is for us to judge is just simply to do it and then look at it and be like, that was not a good idea. So we go from a 988 defense, 1,000, or sorry, actually, you know what? I made a slight miscalculation on the Ethereal version. Hold on. It has the plus 198 defense for the character level. So let's add 198, my bad. So we're looking at 1,379 for the Ethereal version. My bad. So the non-Ethereal version is going to go from 988 to 125 strength and 51 level requirement to 1,490 strength, or defense, 208 strength, and 69 level requirement. So pretty high on the strength requirement there. That's still doable for a Mercenary, but I feel like if you were going to put this on a Merc, you'd probably want the Ethereal version. So let's test the Ethereal version out, shall we? So we're going to need another Lem and another Co and another perfect diamond. All right, so Lem, Co, perfect diamond. And so this one is going to go from 1,379 defense, a level requirement of 51, and a strength requirement of 115, to 2,140 defense, 198 strength, and level 69. Now, 198 strength is actually just below the Colossus Vulge of 200. And if you did have a Mercenary who had a Colossus Vulge on that was wielding 200 strength, then he could potentially use this as well. I don't really feel like this is better than some other options that you can put on your Mercenary, but if you were a solo self-found character and you happen to find an Atmos Wail, this certainly wouldn't be a bad armor to put on a Mercenary. With the faster hit recovery bonus, the massive amounts of defense, and the dexterity, it definitely would be nice for them. And if you did socket it and put something else in there, like perhaps maybe a Shale Rune for some more faster hit recovery, maybe you threw a Topaz in there to give them more magic find, or perhaps you put a 15% IAS jewel in there. Whatever it is that you would put in there to enhance this a little bit would certainly make it a little bit more viable on the Merc. And of course, if you had a Mercenary and you were running Shouts on a Barbarian, you could of course also beef up the defense of the Mercenary a little bit more, which is certainly not a bad thing. So if I were to grab, I don't know, let's just grab a Mercenary, it doesn't really matter. And I throw this armor on him. You see his defense is currently 4,195, which my head's in the way. But if I take him out into the Frigid Highlands and I give him a nice buffing, that pretty massive amount of defense bonus goes to 18,299, which is pretty darn ridiculous. And at this point, he probably has more than enough defense to take on just about everything on his own. Now, he doesn't actually have a weapon, but he shouldn't be dying. All in all, I feel like Atma's Wail is one of those intermediary armors. It was never meant to be the best armor that you could possibly have, and it was probably never meant to be, a mainstay of a build, but more so just something that you put on in passing, and as you leveled up high enough, you eventually just took it off and puts on something better. I could totally see using this at level 51 if you didn't have anything better. I could totally see using this on a Mercenary if you didn't have anything better. But there are better options. If you wanted to find this particular plate of armor, there are a lot of different places that you could go. Atma's Wail is a relatively low TC class of 60, which means that it will drop in a lot of lower level zones. So you will be looking at Act 5, Nightmare. Also, a little bit of Act 4, Nightmare, but that's about it. And then the majority of Hell. So pretty much every single zone in Hell. It will probably also drop in Nightmare Cows, which is level 63, I believe. 64. So yes, it should be able to drop in Nightmare Cows. If you wanted to know where the best chance for you to find this particular piece of armor is, let's do a quick look on the silo pen, and we'll find the best points for this. So it looks like here Andorial in Hell difficulty has a really good chance at 1 in 1,817. And Baal in Hell difficulty has a really good chance, as well as Diablo in Hell difficulty has a pretty good chance. I feel like the best one is Mephisto, though. I'm looking at it right here. Yeah, Mephisto in Hell difficulty has a very good chance of dropping an Atmos Wail. Not by much. He doesn't beat Diablo by much, but it's pretty close. So either Hell Diablo or Hell Mephisto, and you will probably see one of these fall. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.